you have to take risks. There will be disappointments and failures and disasters as a result of taking these risks. But in the long run, it will work out. My point is that if you don't take them, the results will be so much worse than any kind of wild anarchy that could be conceived.
Don't worry, baby, don't you cry. As long as we keep getting.
2018 has been the best year of my life. The amount of things I've been able to accomplish is just insane. Just in travel alone, I traveled over 71,000 miles, adding to my total of 140,000 miles across 12 countries and 27 states. Which, by the way, means that I flew more miles in 2018 than I did the previous 19 years of my life. And I did a lot more than just travel in 2018. So let's get into it. I started off the year by going to Seattle for the first time. I found my new favorite Sky Club, got a high-rise hotel, went to Pike Place, went to the first Starbucks, and then rode in the Maserati for the first time. Then I was off to Vegas. I saw Akil and some of my friends. I went to a spa, and then I flew first class on Delta for the first time to Chicago. I ate at the tallest restaurant in the US on the 96th floor of the Hancock Center. Then I went to the Four Seasons Spa, I flew back home, and just a few weeks later I flew back to Seattle. The next day I went to Amazon Go, and then I got on a plane in business class to go to Hong Kong for the first time. I woke up to an insane view the next day. I visited Shenzhen, I went to the Aqua restaurant, visited the beach, and then after a few short days in Hong Kong, I flew to Tokyo. I got a sick, high-tech hotel room. I went to Nobu, Tokyo, where we celebrated my birthday early. I saw the Tokyo Tower, went to the Monster Cafe, and then went to an Owl Cafe. Then I took a $250 Uber to the airport. I had to do this twice, by the way. I flew business class to Honolulu, Hawaii. I woke up to a view of the islands. This was my first time in Hawaii, and I only had 12 hours to make the most of it. I went to Waikiki Beach. I went snorkeling at Hanauma Bay, which is my grandparents' favorite spot, where they met more than 50 years ago. And then I watched the sunset as my flu symptoms started to kick in. I ended up taking the 3 worst flights of my life, taking about a 5-hour flight from Honolulu to LA, another 3.5-hour flight to Detroit, and then about a 30-minute flight back to Lansing. I spent the next few days recovering, but then we were already off to fly to Jacksonville, Florida to go on my first cruise. We went snorkeling in the Bahamas. I almost crashed my drone flying it behind the boat. We explored the island, and we got to see where James Bond was filmed. Right after I got back from Florida, I flew to LA to meet Tanner for the first time. Little did I know that this would so drastically change my life this year. I went back home, and less than a month later, Tanner FaceTimes me and tells me that he found a house and that I should fly to Huntington Beach as soon as possible. One of my favorite spots in California, and we got to move into a $3 million mansion. This turned out to be the best summer of my life, and let's just say we had some crazy adventures. Later that year in July, we decided to pack up everything and move back to Kansas. But first, we stopped in Vegas for FlipCon, where I had the most insane day of my life. We woke up at 7 a.m. and went skydiving. That was insane. Then to relax a little bit, we went to the JW Marriott Spa. We rented a McLaren 720S. Went and saw Carrot Top. We took a helicopter ride over the strip. And then I flew in first class to Mackinac City, which is my favorite place on earth. I spent a few days in Mackinac with my family. I went snorkeling, of course. I bought the best MacBook that Apple makes, and then I flew back to Kansas to officially live there. And our madness in Kansas began again, starting with me doing my first backflip on fire. Messing around in the R8, jumping off scaffoldings, and then we did a mini tour of meet and greets. And then we made the decision that Kansas just wasn't the place for me. I went back to Michigan for about a month, where I then had one of the best days of my life with Josh. We went to Birmingham, downtown Detroit. We went to a Red Wings game. I celebrated Dom's birthday at the Detroit Dart Club, and then me and Josh went back to Canada to go to Caesar's Palace. I made another big decision for the year and decided to move back to LA. My friend Izzy and I drove across the country, stopping in Denver and Vegas. The day I got there, we threw an event at Venice Beach called Gravalanche with all the flipping guys, and then we threw a party at a $15 million house that we were staying at. I flew home to Michigan, ordered too many Yeezys. I went to Indianapolis for a meet and greet. In between flying back and forth to LA multiple times, Ryan, Akil, and I all went to San Francisco to meet with a $70 billion company. And then after all the madness and flying back and forth, I went home to Michigan for the holidays. I decided last minute to fly to Amsterdam to meet Tanner, Dom, and all the rest of our flipper and tricker friends for the Hooked Gathering. I got to fly business class in the best seat that Delta has to offer on the best plane, the Airbus 350. When I got there, we got to see the canals and all the crazy architecture. By the end of the few days, we were exhausted and ready to come home in time for Christmas. Again, guys, I don't make these videos to brag or show off. I make these videos to show you that absolutely anything is possible. I'm a normal kid from East Lansing, Michigan, and everything I did this year I would have never thought was possible last year. In fact, if you took me back to 2013 when all of this started, I would have called you crazy. I want to encourage you guys to follow your wildest dreams, because if there's one thing that I know, all of them will come true if you give it time and if you never give up.